Hello, and welcome to my podcast, Black River Paranormal Investigations. My name is Rich Hardway, and I have decided to share with you my lifetime of bizarre, unique, and abnormal paranormal activities. I'm going to take you through my childhood and into my adulthood to modern day. Some of these paranormal activities have come through dreams in my younger years, through encounters that I've had at known haunted places and some unknown. Some happened at places I worked and or businesses that I have owned, and others happened while visiting places that was regarded as being haunted by spirits. I have seen things, I have heard things, I have witnessed things, and I have been used as a medium from the spirit world to the present. Some of these videos or podcasts may contain videos and photos, but many of these are from my memory bank. So just sit back, relax, listen to what I have to say. Maybe you have a unique experience, much of the same. I'm hoping that some people in my life who witnessed these with me or heard someone besides me tell the stories that I'm going to tell within here will help acknowledge the story to give it validation. The hardest thing to do is put yourself out there as someone who feels things and sees things and hears things that most people do not. I'd like to start out this introduction with my encounter with a psychic / palm reader when I was around 7 years old. My parents were flea marketers. We would go around and set up and sell stuff on Saturdays and Sundays. They actually had bought a van and kind of kept it loaded all the time with their goods. My mom specialized in glassware, Royal Copley and Carnival Glass and Fenton Glass. And so spent probably 5 years growing up in the flea market atmosphere. Well, one time we're in Montrose, Ohio, which is just outside of Akron. I'm about 7 years old, and we're at a flea market, and I'm walking down an aisle with my mom. There's an old man dressed in rags, a hoodie, wore out jeans, and he's reading palms. We're not paying him any attention. We're just walking down the aisle, down the center of it, and he is actually engaged with someone else. When he stops what he's doing and beckons me over, my mom kind of shakes her head, go ahead, and I venture over to this old man. He begins to look at my hands, and he tells me that I have the 3 crosses of David, which gives me psychic powers. He goes on to tell me how many kids I'll have, things I'll do in life, and he tells me at the end to make sure I use my powers in a positive manner. During the time he was actually looking at my hand and looking at my soul, he stopped twice to tell the people gathered around, whoever had the upset stomach, could they please move on, because it was interfering or causing him problems while he was evaluating or examining me, whatever you want to call it. So finally, I leave. He was charging money to read your palm that day, but he never asked a penny from me or my mom for looking over me. And what I remember about that day the most is, as we walked away, we got 4 or 5 boos down this outdoor. It was the venue was actually a drive-in at the time. Today it's a Ford dealership, but it was a drive-in back then. And once we got 4 or 5 vendors away from him, my mom looked at me and said, "I wonder how he knew I had an upset stomach." Always kind of found that interesting. So, walking away from that, I didn't really know what he meant for the most part. Kind of had psychic ability. I could see things other people couldn't see. I could hear things other people couldn't see. And, of course, at 7 years old, you don't even know what's going on, right? But as I look back at that, I realized that he saw something in me that I didn't see it myself at that time, and I've often reflected back to that moment as I review all the things that I have been through. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about sharing with you things I've been through. I think they're pretty remarkable. Most people I seem to tell one-on-one or one-on-two think they're remarkable. I'm sure there's going to be people who doubt, but that's with anything you say or you do. So we'll call this episode 1, the introduction. And from there, I'm going to try to take you through when I first learned about seeing something and not having any type of explanation for it. I am going to try to keep each one of these under 10 minutes, as statistically they say that most people leave a video around the 9-minute mark. Even when they're engaged in that video, they kind of lose interest. So here we are at the 8:40 mark, and I'm going to bid you farewell. I hope you'll follow me, like my page, and check out my videos. Thanks for listening.